The world of Barnaby, a 9-week-old golden retriever, was primarily composed of three things: the delicious smell of the rug, the thrilling squeak of his blue rubber hedgehog, and the vast, sun-dappled expanse of the back garden. But on this particular afternoon, a fourth element had inserted itself with bewildering force. The pond. Barnaby sat a plump, golden loaf of a puppy on the warm flagstones at the pond's edge. His brow, when he concentrated very hard, furrowed into soft, velvety. His ears, which felt like the most perfect pieces of worn suede, drooped with the weight of his thoughts. His nose, a damp button of black licorice, twitched incessantly. The problem was the shimmering thing in the pond. It wasn't a duck. Ducks were loud and flappy, and made a satisfying quack when you pounced near them. This was different. It was long and sleek, and moved in slow, graceful curves that cast ripples of silver and green light onto the lily pads. Sometimes it surfaced, and Barnaby saw a face. It was the most fascinating face he had ever seen. Not a human face, and certainly not a dog face. Her skin was the pale, luminous color of moonlight on a pearl. Her hair wasn't fur, but a living cascade of seafoam green, threaded with strands of coral pink and deep kelp brown, swirling around her shoulders like waterweeds in a current. Her eyes were the exact shade of the ocean in his human's holiday pictures. Vast, deep, and holding secrets. This was Elara, and she, too, was brainstorming. From her perch on a mossy stone at the pond center, she watched the fluffy sun cloud on the bank. It was small, the color of warm sand and spun honey. It made tiny, enthusiastic noises, yips and whines and contented snuffles that created a different kind of ripple in the air. Its energy was a tangible thing, a buzzing, joyful frequency that was utterly foreign to her serene, aqueous world. Barnaby's brainstorming process was a physical one. He began by chasing his own tail, a fluffy golden plume, in a tight, frantic circle. Maybe the shimmering thing is a tail that is also facile, he thought. He stopped, dizzy, and sat down with a soft thump. No, that didn't fit. He tried a different tack. He lowered his head to the water's surface, his nose almost touching it, and let out a tentative, high-pitched bork. The water distorted his reflection into a funny, squashed pup. Elara, startled, slipped silently beneath the surface, leaving only a swirl of her hair. Barnaby's ears perked up. A disappearing face. He scrambled backwards, then forward, then did a playful bow, his front legs stretched out, his bottom in the air. Invitation to play. He wagged his tail, a frantic metronome of curiosity. Elara resurfaced, closer this time. Her brainstorming was quieter, expressed in the delicate fanning of the translucent fins that flared from her forearms, and the slow, powerful sweep of her great, iridescent tail. A tail of shimmering opal scales that melted from rose gold at her waist to a deep oceanic violet at its fluke. She observed the fluffy sun cloud's body language, the bow, the wag, the bright, unblinking eyes. It is not a fish, she mused, her thoughts as fluid as her home. It does not glide, bounces. It is a creature of air and earth, not water. It is like a sea lion pup, but furrier, and with no flippers. She tilted her head, a mirror of Barnaby's own gesture. A curious melodic sound escaped her, a series of clicks and a soft, rising note that hung in the air like a bubble. Barnaby's heart exploded with joy. A noise. It made a noise. He responded with an earnest volley of barks, each one a staccato burst of golden sound. He then had his most brilliant idea yet. He trotted purposefully to the patio, and returned with his most prized possession clamped gently in his jaws, the blue rubber hedgehog. He placed it reverently at the water's edge, gave it two emphatic squeaks. See? Then nudged it with his nose until it tottered and plopped into the pond. Elara stared at the floating garish blue object, It was the most undignified, absurd thing she had ever seen in her tranquil domain. And yet, the hopeful, shining look on the suncloud's face was impossible to ignore. This was an offering, a token. Her brainstorming reached its conclusion. She needed to reciprocate. She dove a flash of pearlescent skin and powerful tail into the deeper, shadowy part of the pond. Barnaby Wind, worried his gift had been rejected. But a moment later, she reappeared. In her slender, webbed hand, she held a smooth, round stone, its surface striped with bands of agate, the color of cream and rust. With a flick of her wrist, she sent it skimming across the water's surface. It oped once, twice, 3 times with a satisfying blink blink blink, before sinking near the bank. Barnaby was enraptured. A moving stone. Magic. He scrambled after it, paws slipping on the mud, and peered into the water where it had disappeared. He looked back at Elara, his mouth open in a panting, doggy grin, his tongue lolling pink. Their brainstorming session was complete. They had not solved what the other was, not in any human sense, but they had established a protocol. She was not a duck. He was not a sea lion. She was the bringer of skipping stones. He was the giver of squeaky things. And the pond was no longer just a pond. It was a conference room, a diplomacy zone, a place of wondrous cross-species exchange. As the afternoon sun lengthened the shadows, Barnaby lay on his stomach at the water's edge, chin on his paws, watching the hypnotic swirl of Elara's tail. Elara rested her arms on the bank, her chin on her hands, her ocean eyes tracking the twitch of Barnaby's soft ears. No more barks, no more click, just a quiet, mutual contentment. The successful result of a very good brainstorm between a puppy who thought in wiggles and a mermaid who thought in tides.